People saying Tyler can't sing are wrong. She has the same vocal... Oh, child. Oh. This one gagged me. She has the same vocal capabilities as Ariana Grande, but Ariana is more hyped because she's white. Ariana sounds like the average black woman singing R&B, but again, she's praised and called a vocalist because she's white. I almost want to blur your name. I might blur everybody's name out. What is up? It's your girl Alicia back with another video. How are you doing? Because I'm doing great. And as you can see by the title, y'all, we are about to be getting into your unpopular opinions. Yes, your unpopular opinions. Now, if you've never seen this channel before, never seen my face before, hello, my name is Alicia Nicole. Nice to meet you. I do all things music reactions, music commentary, TV show commentary, movie commentary, media commentary, unpopular opinions, all that. So if you like that content, please subscribe. Please subscribe, y'all. We are almost to 3,000 subscribers. My goal is 10K. I haven't told y'all that, but yeah, that's my goal. So please hit that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Now, y'all, I asked y'all to send me some of your unpopular opinions, and y'all didn't miss. Y'all didn't miss at all. The way so many of y'all sent your unpopular opinions is wild. If you ever want to be a part of content like this, or like really get the 410, please follow me on all my social media so you can DM, join in on the conversation. I will put that in the description below. But we are going to be getting into y'all's unpopular opinions. I'm honestly really excited and also really scared. I had to put the bifocals on for this. I'm going to be very brutally honest with y'all and y'all's opinions, because some of these opinions are wrong, baby. They're wrong. I'm just going to tell y'all that now. Also, I don't have any LED lights on right now because I don't know where my remote is. So yeah, but okay. Let's get into the first unpopular opinion. Wait, should I say y'all's names? Or should I just blur it out? It is what it is. We're going to start with the first unpopular opinion. Sabrina needs to do R&B pop instead of country pop. And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yep. I feel like, hold on, y'all. I hate the glare on my glasses. I don't love that. I feel like Sabrina Carpenter thrives when she's making pure pop music. Now, when R&B is infused, it's a beautiful blend, but that is where she thrives the most. This country-esque that we're doing, it's not awful. And I will, like, please, oh baby, that song is tea. That song is tea. But for me personally, I do think she thrives best when she's making pop R&B music. So I agree with your unpopular opinion. Okay, moving on. Tay McRae is the best pop music artist right now. Best pop music artist right now is a very strong statement. When I say she's the absolute best, and y'all, this might come to a shock to y'all because I love Tay McRae. I'm going to correct the statement and say she is one of the best. I feel like for me, I'm not going to put her in that caliber just yet. I feel like she is a force to be reckoned with. She is a force to be reckoned with. Some of the girls aren't touching her. Unfortunately, some of the girls aren't touching her. I feel like she is one of our top tier pop artists, but to say the is very strong. It's a very strong statement. So I'm going to say she's one of the best. And I cannot wait to see how her career pans out. But yeah, I'm gonna say one of the best. But I love my girl Tate. Kisses. Y'all, I'm trying to speed through these because it's a lot. So we're really gonna get into some tea. Adele is one of the most creative artists we've had in a long time. I really hope she gets the recognition she deserves soon. Absolutely. I agree with this 100%. I feel like people, and I also wouldn't have known about Adele and her creativity and versatility if I didn't listen to y'all. if I didn't listen to y'all, because I wasn't listening to Adele, I wasn't listening to KATSEYE, I wasn't in that world. But Adele is such a force to be reckoned with. I think she is so creative. She's doing things that the girls aren't doing, and she needs a bigger push. She needs a bigger push. More girls need to be talking about her. Her artistry is just top notch. It's top level. She's not afraid to do the things that most pop girls are afraid to do, and I think that's why I respect her so much. So I agree with you. Next opinion is Carly Rae Jepsen deserves better. Now when I read this, I was like, who's listening to Carly Rae? Now listen. We all know,
hey, I just met you, and
we know that, right? We know that banger. But what is Carly Rae doing now? And not to say, and again, I don't even think I'm the best person to even cover this topic because I don't even listen to her. So I can't say she deserves better because I don't listen to her. However, maybe she does. Maybe she does, and I just don't know because I don't listen to her music. But I'm going to say now that I don't know what Carly Rae is up to. And maybe that's the answer. That's the answer. Don't cover me. That's the answer. But let me know in the comments below if any of you guys listen to Carly Rae. Let me know. And tell me if her music is worth the push. It is worth the listen. She needs recognition. Let me know. Ooh, this is a long one. This is a long one. Okay. We should stop bashing artists if they aren't good at one skill or another. If that's not their main selling point, for example, nobody's tuning into artists like Mariah the Scientist or Addison Rae because they can sing well. They obviously can. Mariah's appeal is her insightful songwriting abilities, whilst Addison's is her ability to encapsulate aesthetics. That's tea. How you describe that is tea. Criticism is fine, but hate is unnecessary. If they're not what you're looking for, then go support other artists who have the skills you are looking for. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. When I read this comment, I was like, oh, you're onto something. You're onto something, queen, because that makes perfect sense. People want to talk about, oh, this artist isn't doing this artist doesn't eat in this department, she can't sing well, she's not a good dancer, she's not a good performer. Find someone who does that. Find someone who can meet all your expectations. The only thing I don't, oh, okay, you said, why did I read that as Mariah? Like when you said Mariah, I thought you were talking about Mariah Carey. Mariah the Scientist. Okay, yeah. I completely agree. I feel like for Addison, nobody's tuning in for a big grand vocal, and we know this. But and this brings me to another topic of conversation. I think a lot of people don't understand that to be an artist is not just about one thing. It's not just, oh, if they can't sing, they're not a good artist. Because you find there's a lot of artists who can sing, but they're not blowing up, or they're not getting the success you would think they would get just because they have good vocals. It takes more than just singing to be a good artist. And I feel like that's kind of what this person is touching on a bit. Aesthetic is also very important when it comes to a good pop star, or not even just a pop star, an artist in general. Selling an aesthetic, selling lyricism. Some art, me personally, I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. Taylor Swift is not the worst singer. I don't think she sucks. I think she has a voice, but I think people listen to her more for her lyricism, and she's such a big star for that reason. You don't have to have the full 9 to be a great artist, and I feel like that's what this person is saying, and I completely agree. I listen to certain artists for certain things. Now, if you check all the boxes, kudos to you, my queen. Kudos to you. But you don't have to. You don't have to check all the boxes. Yeah, and I think I do think it is a bit, it's just giving hater energy when people hate on an artist because they don't check all boxes. I think Addison Rae is such a perfect example of this. Genuinely, I listen to some of her music and it's really vibes. I'm not there for a vocal. It's really there for vibes and aesthetic, and I think that's just as important. And if y'all want me to talk about that like deeply, I will make a video about that, because that actually interests me so much about like what really takes an artist, or what really makes an artist, because it's so many things. It's not just one thing, and you can find these things in different artists. I love this opinion. More people need to think like this critically. Okay, next unpopular opinion: Addison Rae is on the road to stardom whether you like it or not. Now, this is a very interesting comment, because if you would have told me this in 2020, I would have been like, girl, who? Miss Addison Rae, shorty the baddest? Like, huh? But in this day and age, Addison Rae is doing something, and I would even compare her to someone like Adele. Now, listen, I think Adele, vocally, she's more strong than Addison Rae. However, they're both doing things that I don't think a lot of the girls are doing. A lot of the girls are playing it safe, whereas somebody like Addison Rae is kind of stepping outside of the box and being a little bit more creative with her aesthetic. And I think that's what draws people to her more. Do I think she's on the road to stardom? Like it's giving Beyonce level or like Ariana Grande level? Time will tell. Time will tell. But what I do think is we should give her props and her tens for her creativity and her artistry, because it's something that we're not seeing. And I feel like it's really refreshing to see somebody like Addison Rae really gag the girls with her imagery and even her sound, even though her sound isn't the most unique. It's not the most unique. However, it's something different from like what we're used to hearing from like pop girls. Like it's not the same formula, and I appreciate that. Stardom is a strong word, babes. Stardom is a strong word, but we gonna see. But what I do think is the Addison hate train is over, and we do have to accept that as a society. Ariana Grande is the best vocal artist of our generation. I feel like nobody really acknowledges how good she really is. I feel like her fandom altogether disappeared. Oh, that last part is interesting. Let's start with the first statement. Ariana Grande is the best vocalist of our generation. Absolutely. And that's not me being biased. I swear, it's not me being biased. It's just the truth. More people need to put respect on my girl's name. Who's hitting notes like Ariana Grande? I'll wait. In this generation. I'll wait. Nobody. That's the answer. To answer you, nobody is really doing it like Ariana Grande. Ariana Grande has such a great range and good voice, good control over her voice. She's just altogether very vocally talented. She's very vocally talented. And I feel like what blinds people from her talents, to me, I feel like her as a person. I don't know why people love to dogpile on Ariana Grande and they love to hate her, but I think that's what distracts people from how talented she is. Like if Ariana Grande pulled a Sia, I think we would respect her. Not we. I think y'all would respect her more and put her on her throne as she should be. And then you said, I feel like her fandom altogether disappeared. Now, I won't say her fandom disappeared because, girl, I'm still here. However, I do see what you mean. And I feel like this is a conversation that, calling all Arianators, we need to talk about. Because I feel like, and this is what it is when you decide to venture off into something other than what you're known for. When she decided to play the role of Glinda, her new fan base appeared. The new generation of girlies who discovered Ariana Grande, the baby Arianators, discovered Glinda. They didn't discover Ariana Grande. They discovered Glinda. And not only did she take on that role and gain a new audience from that movie, she also continues to walk in this like Glinda-esque vibe. Like it's not giving Ariana. You know what I mean? And I think that's why you don't see a lot of Arianators really, because we're here for Ariana Grande, and I feel like she comes off a lot like her character. And I think the girls who appreciated her for her character are fans of her for that reason. But I don't think they disappeared. I just think when the music starts pumping out like it used to, you'll see an increase of fans for Miss Grande. All right, we're getting into some Taylor stuff. I got a lot of Taylor comments. A lot of them was like, Taylor's overhyped, she sucks, da 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 da, right? But I want to talk about the ones that we go more into depth and why you don't care for Miss Taylor or whatever, because I've gotten a lot of Taylor Swift stuff throughout the years. I've talked about Taylor, da 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 da, right? So let's get into this one. I love Taylor Swift so much, and she's such a kind person, but I feel like all the vinyl variants feel like a grab at people's money, and that she needs so many variants and so much money to be successful. Her money doesn't define her success. I hope she knows that, and that isn't the case though. Okay, that is a very good comment, a very interesting topic to get into. Honestly, when it comes to artists putting out different variants of merch, I do think it's a cash grab. Let's keep it a buck. I do think it's a cash grab. I do think it is a clever way to make money, because people are gonna buy it if it's you. People are gonna buy it if it's like, oh, we're getting a alt cover, we're getting a new this, new that, trick the minds of the people. On a business side, it's smart. On a business side, it's smart. When it comes to the consumers and regular people on a day-to-day basis, it can come off as insensitive, and it can come off as like, you just want my money on. But, however, I'm not going to completely bash artists for doing this. Because why? This is their job at the end of the day. At the end of the day, their job is to make money any way that they can. And looking at somebody like Taylor Swift, you would assume like she has a lot of money, which she does. However, I can't slight an artist for trying to make money. However, we can lower the prices. It's not the artist's fault that consumers are buying multiple versions of the same thing. Let's talk about it. It's not artists' fault that the girls are running to the stores to buy the same vinyl 800 times. If you fall into the trap, you fall into the trap. I don't know what else. I don't know. But I do get the sentiment of like, girly pop, let's slow down. But again, I can't hate a girl's hustle. So something about that. We got some Billie stuff. Hit Me Hard and Soft is not Billie's worst album. I don't know how some think this. Her lyrics were just so good, and the production and music itself was so good. Billie Eilish is underrated. Billie Eilish is underrated. That's a statement. Why? She got recognition for Hit Me Hard and Soft, but then people just stopped talking about her. She is a really good artist. Okay, so y'all might come for me. I might get my first Hit Me Hard and Soft was, because I did do a reaction to it. It was an okay album. And this is what I will say. Take it or leave it. Billie Eilish is such an amazing artist. I feel like she brings such uniqueness to the table. I think she's a very introspective artist, and I think her lyricism is top tier. I think she dives deep into situations that take us kind of like into her world. You know what I mean? Her lyricism takes us on a ride to her world, into her world. However, Hit Me Hard and Soft, to me, I've only listened to the album once. So maybe if I listen to it again, my opinion might change. But it felt very safe. Like it did not give me anything different. And this is me being completely honest with y'all, because like I told y'all, I really want to prioritize honesty on this channel. And I feel like a lot of times I might sugarcoat things. I wish I would have said this, but Hit Me Hard and Soft was not my favorite Billie album. Billie has not made an album for me that I want to listen to on repeat since her debut. And this is just me. Okay. Billie Eilish fans, don't come for me, but Billie, she's such a great vocalist, but her albums do not make me want to listen to her. The only album that's made me want to keep listening to her is When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Because I feel like it was so experimental and it was so fresh and new at that time. Every other album after that kind of has that same somber vibe, which is not a bad thing, because I feel like people like to demonize artists for having a steady aesthetic and a steady sound. Billie has found her sound, but I would love for Billie to step out of that sound. I want to hear something different from her. I want to hear something unique from her that's going to make me like really want to listen to Billie Eilish, because Billie Eilish, to me, I'm always going to be there for her. I love her, but the music doesn't grasp me. Her as a person does, but the music doesn't grasp me. The last song that really like made me pay attention to her was What Was I Made For? That is such a beautiful song. And Guess, featuring with Charlie XCX. So yeah. And then you say Billie Eilish is underrated? I don't think Billie Eilish is underrated in the least. I think, the girls ride for Billie. The girls ride for Billie. I love Billie as well though, so I ride for her too, but not in that way. I can say when I don't love a project from Billie or love a song from Billie, and I feel like Heavy Heart Is Soft wasn't that album for me. It wasn't that album for me. I'm sorry, but she is a really good artist. I do agree with that. Okay, moving on. People are way too strict about music recently. An album can be fun and poppy. It doesn't have to be deep to enjoy. I agree 100%. Nowadays, y'all, when I was young, we used to have fun. We used to be filled with whimsy. Is whimsy the right word? We used to be filled with whimsy. We used to have fun. We used to just dance. We used to just dance and have a freaking ball and have a good time. Now everything has to be deep, and it has to be sad, and it has to be life altering and world shattering for it to be good. And I think that's false. I think that's false. Why can't we just have an album that's filled with good freaking bops and have a good time? We don't need to get into trauma. And this is not to say I don't love those types of bodies of work, because those are like low-key one of my favorites, but I agree with what you mean about that doesn't make a good album. That doesn't make a good album just because it doesn't make it a bad album just because it's super fun and light. Example, Short and Sweet. That album barely has any deep songs and introspective work on that album. That album is just a good freaking album, and it's happy, and we're happy, and we're singing, and we're dancing. So yeah, I agree with this. I agree 100%. And I wish more people had this mindset. Life is deep enough. Why can't I just like put on a good pop princess with a glittery gel pen? Thank you. We're getting a Dua Lipa opinion. Dua Lipa can't dance. Still, she just got better choreography. This sounds like an oxymoron, Miss Girl. Dua Lipa can't dance still. She just got better choreography. I feel like that goes hand in hand. Like, she wasn't a good dancer. Now she has good choreography. So, of course, it's going to look good. I don't know what you mean by this. However, Dua Lipa, I feel like there's another Dua Lipa comment that's going to make me get into her deeper. But this comment right here kind of sounds like a little bit of a contradiction. I wish my favorite artist success, of course, and think they deserve the world of success. But after seeing how a few artists I liked turned out after becoming mainstream, I kind of hope they stay on the smaller side. Okay, I kind of agree with what you're saying. I have two thoughts. I feel like I get what you mean about when artists become big, and this is just what I see, they lose some of that spark. That thing that made you like them and made you listen to them, they lose it to the factory. They lose it to the industry machine. Okay? Because when they're independent and they're working on their own stuff, they don't have to meet the expectations of social media or the expectations of the charts or the expectations of labels and all that stuff, all the industry stuff. They just get to create. So there's no critical critique on what they're doing. So they have more fun doing it, and you can hear it in the music, you can hear the creativity in the music. But as soon as they get signed, as soon as they get big, they get pushed through the label, they get pushed through the industry factory, and they start to sound pretty generic. and they lose what was special about them. So I agree with that 100%. I'm not saying I want them to stay smaller, even though, like I said, it does kind of benefit them musically in that way. But a good example of this, an artist that didn't lose their creativity even when they got big and got put into a label, is Melanie Martinez. I think she's a perfect example. She was a person that I feel like she kept her core aesthetic and core creativity throughout her entire career, and that's because she fought and pushed for it. And she isn't popular to the point where she's up there with like the main pop girls. She sacrificed that level of fame to keep her creativity, to keep what makes her special, to keep what makes her Melanie Martinez. And I feel like a lot of people do not have the strength to fight that, or they don't have the strength to combat what people find popular in order to keep who they are, because they want to be seen as an A-list. They want to be seen as someone who's popping. You know what I mean? Hopefully that made sense, but I do get what you mean. Benson Boone sucks. That's the statement. Benson Boone sucks. Honestly, I heard somebody say this and I kind of agree. When people just say, oh, so-and-so sucks. Well, why? Why do they suck? Why do you think they suck? Because saying somebody sucks does not give me enough context to even critically analyze. Because Benson Boone sucks, but why? Why do you think he sucks? You know what I mean? My opinion on Benson Boone, though, is his music isn't for everyone. I love his dedication, though. I love his dedication. He said, I'm going to keep putting out music, and I'm going to keep putting out music I like. And it is what it is. Is Benson Boone top tier for me in my book? No. Well, do I say he sucks? I don't know. I don't listen to enough of his music to even say if that man sucks. But I know he could do, he backflips all over the place. And that is what I know. Okay, this is the comment. Olivia is not bigger than Dua. Olivia is not bigger than Dua. That is an interesting comparison. When I first read this comment, I was like, this is an interesting pair. Comparing Olivia to Dua. Even though they are big pop stars, they are pop stars in their own right. They're in their own lane. They do not even have the same sound of music. I would have understood if you compared like Ariana Grande and Sabrina Carpenter, because they're kind of in the same boat. Olivia has a whole different demographic, a whole different arena than Dua. But however, just going from this statement alone, I will say this. I will say both of these girls are pretty big. They're pretty well known. But Olivia is taking it when it comes to notoriety and when it comes to people caring. I don't know. I feel like she has the girls' attention. Dua had her time. Dua decided to put out Radical Optimism. I haven't heard that album yet. I don't know how we went from Future Nostalgia to Radical Optimism. I feel like it's night and day. I feel like Dua was really on her incline when it came to Future Nostalgia. But right now, I'm not saying Olivia is bigger, but I'm saying she has more relevance. That's the word. She has more relevance. Unfortunately, she has more relevance than Dua right now. But I also think both of them are kind of like in the background right now. I feel like they're both not really doing a lot, but I'd say Olivia has more relevance. Boom. Okay, y'all. We're at 30 minutes. Should I just finish it out? There's so much. Okay. We're gonna keep going because this is fun. Just because something is overplayed doesn't make it a bad song. For example, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen is an amazing song, but if you hear it too much, you'll get tired of it. That doesn't make it a bad song. I agree 100%. I feel like a lot of the times people like to say overplayed songs are bad. I don't think they're bad. They're overplayed for a reason. Generally, if you have too much of something, you're gonna get tired of it. Not to say it's not good, because you get tired of something. You can have a favorite food. If you eat that favorite food every day, you're gonna get tired of it. That doesn't automatically make it bad because you got tired of it. You just want something else. It was delicious while it lasted. Does it make it horrible? Doesn't make it horrible at all. There's a lot of great music and great songs completely overplayed. But guess what? I played the mess out of them because I like them so much. And it didn't lose its spark. It didn't lose its sparkle because I overplayed it. I just don't want to listen to it anymore. And me personally, I'm the type of person, in a year or two, I will be right back to restreaming that song. Period. So I agree. Ooh, okay. We're getting into more Sabrina. I love Sabrina, if y'all can tell. Emails I Can't Send is Sabrina's best album. It gives us more of her raw emotion. It has more in-depth lyrics. She didn't hold back in telling exactly how she felt. I hear this a lot when it comes to Sabrina Carpenter, that Emails I Can't Send, y'all feel like that's her best album. I feel like Emails I Can't Send was her most emotional album. I will say that. Most emotional album. Very raw, raw, emotional, stripped back. Short and sweet takes the cake for me. And this goes back to the opinion of not all deep and introspective and life-altering lyricism has to be the best. Has to be the best body of work. Because in my opinion, although Emails I Can't Send is a very good contender, one of her top albums and very iconic albums, Short and Sweet to me shows more of her versatility. It shows more of her just like pop girl side. And I think that was beautiful to see because I feel like it was constructed in such a beautiful way. It keeps the girls listening. In my personal opinion, again, me, Short and Sweet is her best album, best body of work. It's just well done when it comes to like pop music, because I've been such a connoisseur of pop music for so long that it's like one of my favorite genres is pop music, and I feel like she executed that so well in that album while not fitting into just a stereotypical pop album. Like, she really made it her own, and she really made it an enjoyable listen, and she really made it just like fun and something fresh. Even though it's pure pop, it was something new. It was new and it wasn't new at the same time. But Emails I Can't Send is a top contender. It is her most emotional. It is her most raw. But me, I would say Short and Sweet. It's her best body of work. That's an opinion. All of this is an opinion, but that's my opinion. KATSEYE's fan base only cares about their looks, dancing, and not the actual music, which is why they won't really be taken seriously by the US audience that don't know, aren't into K-pop. They are just a certified dance group. You're gonna be canceled. You're gonna be canceled, girl. This is a KATSEYE. This is an icon channel. Trust me, the girls love KATSEYE content over here. But if we're gonna keep it 100 and we're gonna keep it a bug, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Not to turn on my girls KATSEYE, but I do think that their fan base is, and I'd say I'm one of them, even though their music doesn't suck, it's not the best. It's not the best. It's not the best. It's not. Listen. Let's start from the beginning. I've always said this. I feel like if they made different sounding music, they would be taken more seriously as a group when it comes to the songs. I stand KATSEYE because I think they're all freaking talented. Not only are they beautiful in their own right, they're also like beautiful. They're also really talented, but I don't think their label lets them express that enough, like their individuality when it comes to music. I feel like their label makes music for them that they think will sell well. And I think they play it safe. And I think that's where that like people don't really care for the music comes from, because the music isn't bad. It's not objectively bad, but it's not anything new. It's not anything interesting. I think with their first era, I think I didn't really tune into them because they had earworm songs, but they didn't have songs to where it's like, oh, this is new. I haven't heard this before. And honestly, within, you have to think about it too with the K-pop formula though. There are groups who take it there and really express their music in a different way that not a lot of people do. But a lot of K-pop is very constructed. it's very meant to be popular music. It's not meant to be this individual sounding music. So that's, I think, where the trip up is. I do think they're more talented when it comes to the dancing. I feel like the dancing is something to really look at and really be like, OMG. But because they are marked, I think if KATSEYE was only marketed to K-pop consumers, that's where the success lies. But here in the US, girl, we get into that music. We get into that music, and I do think that the music can be a little underwhelming at times. I think, in my opinion, they do need to allow the girls to show their individuality in their music if they really want them to be taken seriously as musicians and not just, like you said, a dance group. Not just a dance group. I think they need to do more songs like MIA. I do. But back to what I was saying again, K-pop is so constructed to sound a certain type of way that I can understand why the label is doing that. But you can tell that I think if the girls had more creative control over what music they made, it would sound completely different and it would sound more unique. And that is my take on KATSEYE. But I love them, and I do think they're talented. Again, like we said in the beginning, it's not just about the music. It's not just about that. It takes so much more to be a good group or a good artist, and I think they have it. I think they have it. People that close themselves off to certain genres, like I know so many people that only listen to hip-hop, R&B, rap, etc., simply because they think other genres are uninteresting or cringe. There's so much music and good songs out there, people, but to each their own, just explore. LOL. I completely agree with this. 100%. People who only listen to one genre must be miserable. They must be miserable, because you're putting yourself in a box. You're putting yourself somewhere you don't need to even put yourself, because nobody even cares that much. I don't know who that sounds more like an identity issue. Because why do you care so much about what genre you listen to? It must be the people you're around. Or you think you're going to be judged because your friends listen to hip hop, but there's a good pop song waiting for you to listen to it, and it's amazing, but you don't want to listen to it because it's labeled under pop. To me, I'm not going to be rude, but I do think that's a little juvenile. I think it's a little juvenile, because when you're younger, you care a lot about how people perceive you, and this gives more like a you care how you're perceived type of issue. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I get. And then you're also closing yourself off to so much good music. Yeah. So much good music. I'm not gonna not listen to a song just because it's alternative. And y'all know. If y'all know me, y'all know I love alternative music. That was an example. But I'm not gonna close myself off to alternative music because I like listening to pop. Why would I do that? Why would I do that? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Because if the song is good, the song is good. Whatever genre it is. I feel like, honestly, genres are kind of restricting. And not just like to the consumer, like to hear the music, but also to make music. But that's a conversation for another time. I do agree with what you said. Okay, this is kind of what the other person said, but I'll read it anyway. Songs of the summer doesn't have to be a fun pop song, and I feel like everyone's forgetting that. Also, album eras should last 2 years minimum. A year isn't enough to build a proper world and sound, and having a bad album cover and using alternative covers to make up for it doesn't help. It just disconnects the listener from the music even more. Oh yeah, that includes Song of the Year too. Let's start with the first statement you made. Songs of the summer doesn't have to be a fun pop song, and I feel like everyone's forgetting that. Now, when I first read this right now, I'm like, let me check myself. Let me think. Because to me, summer is a season of a good bop. There are certain seasons for certain songs, or there's certain songs for certain seasons. And I feel like summer is relatively the season that is curated for popular music, a good bop, a good pop song. So I don't know if I agree with you. I don't know if I agree with you on songs in the summer doesn't have to be a fun pop. It doesn't. Okay. Definitively, it doesn't. However, it should be. I'm sorry. It should be. It should be. I don't want the song of the summer to be Die With a Smile, which it kind of was, I think. Or I don't want the song of the summer to be a ballad. I'm sorry. Song of the summers are good bops for a reason, because people want to go outside and shake their yams and have fun. Okay, so I don't know about how I feel about that. That's just me being biased, but I don't agree. I'm sorry. Okay, and then you said, I feel like everyone's forgetting that also album eras should last 2 years minimum. A year isn't enough to build a proper world and sound. Okay, I'm at a crossroad with this, because on one hand, I agree with you. I do feel like I feel like this is a slight to Sabrina. I'm sorry, I feel some Sabrina slander with it. And you might not be talking about Sabrina. I just feel a little bit of Sabrina slander. But no, seriously, I love you. However, I do get what you mean. I feel like artists within a certain era have cultivated that, like, dropping albums years after or years in between, and it's cultivated that atmosphere around album cycles, and it makes us anticipate it, or it makes us feel like we have to sit within an album for years until we get the next body of work. And I feel like in some cases that is true, because moving to the next era, it's like I'm still on this one. I'm still connected to this era. So I do get it in that sense. But also looking at it from an artist perspective, because I do put music out and I do put music out very frequently, it really honestly depends on the type of artist and what level of artist you are. Let me explain. If we're talking about an indie artist, it is kind of smarter for indie artists to put out albums probably within years of each other, if not months, because that keeps traction going. That keeps momentum going. That keeps people listening to you, because after they're done with that album, they're not going to listen to you anymore if they don't really know you, or they don't really mess with you like that. They need something else to consume and something else to go off on your discography. So I feel like when it comes to indie artists, I don't feel like this applies. I feel like when it comes to bigger artists, it can feel like a lot of material at one time. Now me, honey, I like when the girls put out albums after albums, because at a certain point, this is something that I want to bring up. At a certain point, even like how I said with indie artists, people do that with mainstream artists too. People wait a millennium to put out another album. Now I'm not thinking about you no more. I done moved on to the best hot thing. And I think we're getting into it. I think that on one end, it is smart to continue to put out albums. I'm not saying put out an album 5 months later, but I'm just saying putting out albums in a good amount of time between each other so that you can keep up what you have. On one end, it's good. On the other hand, it can come off as this is just you trying to stay relevant, and it's not you being an artist and you living in your full artistry. Because did you take time with this album, or is this just a cash grab? What's happening? I do feel like I also want to bring up too, this is something Sabrina Carpenter said in her Apple Music interview, and she basically said that if you're not ready to move on to the next album, don't. She said there's a lot of times where I don't listen to somebody's album years after they drop, and then I'll go back to it and listen to it, and it's there for me. You know what I'm saying? So I do agree. You don't have to move on with the next album when the artist drops it. It would be nice for the artist because they want you to listen. However, you can still stay in that world and still absorb that world that they created. You don't have to move on. so quickly. But I do get what you mean. I do get the sentiment of your statement, and it can be hard to immerse yourself in a world where they're already building another one. But if you want to stay in that world, go stay in that world. Stay in that world. Yeah, I agree, but I also disagree. It depends on the artist, artistry, quality of content as well. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. Okay, moving on. You also said, and having a bad album cover and using, I feel like this is such Sabrina slander. And having a bad album cover and using alternative covers to make up for it doesn't help. It just disconnects the listener from the music even more. I genuinely felt like using alternative covers was interesting. Again, because I put out music, I could see it from an artist standpoint, but I can also see it from a consumer standpoint too, because I consume a lot of music. And it's like, okay, if you weren't going to choose this cover art, if you chose this cover art, why are you showing us 10 different shots of a photo shoot for an alternative cover art? At some point, we have to be decisive, and we have to stick with one cover art. Unfortunately, I was confused when Ariana Grande was doing multiple cover arts, but what she did was show us multiple of them before the release, so we didn't even really know what the cover art was. And I do feel like it does disconnect you from what they're trying to create, because it's like, okay, what's the aesthetic? Because I feel like I'm a very big aesthetic girly. Like when it comes to projects and music, I want to be in that world. So I get what you mean. I want to immerse myself in what I'm listening to, and cover art is such a big tool when it comes to like choosing what to listen to. I look at cover art first, honey. I look at cover art and I look at the title. So yeah, I do agree with the whole alternative covers thing, but I also guess too, on the flip side, it's good for marketing, it's good for business, because it'll have people buying multiple of the same thing. And it's also like, if you hated the cover art, here's something else, because you hated that one, go get that one instead. You don't gotta look at that one, you can look at this one. So I could get that. Okay, Tate is not Britney's daughter at all. Listen, Lindas, I might be the bearer of bad news or come to disappoint, but I'm not the person to say that, because I've never been into Britney. Not saying she's not a good artist. What I mean is, I don't think that was my era. Like, Britney was not my era, to be for real, comparing Tate McRae to her, because I wasn't even there to really know what Britney brings to the table. I do think that sometimes, and this is not the only case, y'all do this with everybody. When y'all see one similar thing between two artists, y'all say, oh, this is the next da-da-da-da-da. And they literally don't encompass them at all. They just have one similar trait. And for me, I'm thinking that people are comparing Tate to Britney Spears is because they both danced and sing. That doesn't make her be another Britney or the next Britney. Unfortunately, Tate McRae doesn't even sound like Britney Spears in the slightest. I think people just want the next big thing. They want the next new artist, but y'all have to realize these people aren't the next anybody. They're just them. That's what people have to come to terms with, is these artists, although have influences of the greats, they're not them. And at some point, we have to move on and realize that we are in a new era. Okay? We're in a new era. We don't have to be focused on people in the past. They did their thing. They got to live in their truth. They got to, and I know it's natural to compare. I know it's natural to see similarities in your fave and want to compare and contrast, but I think we need to stop that, because it takes away from what that artist is currently doing. Tate McRae is doing something different. She's doing something unique to her, even though she has similarities of other artists. She's cultivating her own style, her own artistry, and we have to respect that. Case closed. Ooh, somebody says Sabrina Carpenter is losing her sound. I disagree full-heartedly. One, Sabrina Carpenter just found this sound. A lot of the girls don't understand that Sabrina Carpenter's career didn't start with Short and Sweet. It didn't start with Short and Sweet. Sabrina has been out forever. Sabrina Carpenter has taken on many life forms in her time. She's taken on various of aesthetic, various of sound. Okay? This one is the one that really stuck and really got the girls talking. Okay? So to say she's losing her sound when she just got into this one is completely false. I don't think she's losing her sound at all. I think she sounds basically dang near the same, just more mature. And regardless of that, I feel like this. People have to allow artists room to grow and room to, again, shape shift when they want and when they please. Because what people don't understand is artists aren't just one thing. They can be multiple things and do multiple things. So when I see, again, artists cultivating a sound can be very smart and honestly very beneficial to their career, because people are going to know them from that and they're going to want to hear more of that because that is their, automatic sound. However, I wish people would give artists space to just create and not have one sounding thing. I don't think she's losing her sound, but if she decided to go another direction, that's her artistry, and I can't be mad at that. If you love that sound so much, go stream it, baby, because it's there. Okay, somebody said Taylor Swift's music is not good. I think that, again, this is an artist too that I can't really talk about because I don't listen to her that much. But the songs I've heard, like the bops, are the bops. I do sometimes hear Taylor Swift music and think, okay, this isn't for me. I have felt that way. I have. But am I going to write Taylor off as not making good music? No, because she's at the place where she's at right now for a reason. And I feel like we can give her flowers for that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just going to write her off as like, she sucks because half of her discography isn't good. You know what I mean? I like a lot of Cupcake songs. She's generally a good rapper. Okay, this is a good comment, honestly. Cupcake is actually a pretty good rapper. I just think people are blinded by how overtly sexual she is. And it can almost become kind of comical and not really take it seriously, because it's like, girl, what is this? This is so polarizing and so like in your face that it's like, girl, are you being serious? But when you listen to her and go bar for bar, she is really a talented rapper. So I agree with you on there. This is about to be a long video. Okay, we're getting into Man's Best Friend stuff. Okay, Man's Best Friend by Sabrina Carpenter is a good album in my opinion. I don't know why people are hating on it. I'm going to tell you why people are hating on it, but I agree with you. Man's Best Friend is genuinely a good album. I'm sorry to the girls who hate it so freaking much and say it's boring and all that different stuff. Y'all don't like Man's Best Friend because it doesn't have immediate hits like Short and Sweet. Because with Short and Sweet, there was immediate bangers. Y'all want immediate gratification. That's a society issue. Y'all want immediate gratification. When it's like, let's sit with the song. How about we just sit with the song? You know what I'm saying? Like, people listen to that album like 24 hours after it came out and just deemed it bad. Deemed it sucked. And it was like, y'all just like to listen to something that immediately catches y'all's attention and immediately makes y'all want to get up and dance. This album was not meant to give you the vibes of Short and Sweet. It had hints of Short and Sweet, but this album was a different, more mature sound from Sabrina that I completely appreciated and completely loved that she did, because she could have made another Short and Sweet. She could have did another album where it was like boom, 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 immediate yes. However, I'm glad that she took a tonal shift, and I feel like that's why people are hating on it. People are like, it's boring. That's a cop out. Y'all don't like it because it's not we didn't have an espresso on the album. We didn't have a Please 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 on the album. We didn't have a Good Graces on the album. We didn't have a Beckham on the album. We didn't have a Juna on the album. But the real tea is we did. The whole Short and Sweet album was filled with bangers. I will agree. Short and Sweet is better. To me, it is a better album than Man's Best Friend. However, Man's Best Friend stands on its own right, and Man's Best Friend is a good album as well. In fact, I'm pretty sure I've streamed Man's Best Friend way more since it came out than Short and Sweet. I think Short and Sweet was a good constructed album and a good album for the girls who just want to listen to a good pop album. But this album was more of a let's sit down and really take in what she's saying and really vibe out, because it's such a different album sonically, and I think that's what the girls have to realize. But yeah, I don't want to hear no Man's Best Friend slander. I mean, you can say your opinion. I don't care. I love to hear a new opinion, and I understand that certain songs did come off a little like snooze fest. I was living my best life. If y'all want to go check out that reaction, y'all can now. But I do see there's skips. There's songs that I skip on the album, but that album is generally a good, solid body of work. Chappell Roan isn't really a main pop girl. Sure, she has her pop hits, but she hasn't made anything to make her a main pop girl. She does have amazing vocals, though. This is an interesting statement. Chappell Roan isn't a main pop girl. Chappell Roan has in my opinion, Chappell Roan has cemented herself as a main girl. I'm gonna have to disagree. I do think she is a main pop girl. However, she has her fandom. She has her group. She has the people that are cheering for her and staying on her for the sidelines. I think Chappell Roan makes music that isn't always lined up with where pop is going right now. And I think that's what makes you feel like she isn't a main pop girl. But I would argue that she is. And I feel like she has cemented herself as one of the biggest girlies right now. And I do feel like some of her music is not a girl. Okay, first of all, y'all, I listened to, hold on, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess. That album is so good. And I think more people need to talk about it. The album is actually really well. It was a really well conceptualized body of work. Good musicality, good lyricism, good everything. I really enjoyed the album. I just think that Chappell Roan isn't a pretty pop princess. She's beautiful, that's not what I mean. But in the like aesthetic sense, like she's not a Sabrina Carpenter, she's not an Ariana Grande, she's not even a Camila Cabello. Chappell Roan is doing her own thing and making her own sound, and I think that's what makes you feel like she's not a main pop girl. But I would argue that she is a main pop girl. She's just not doing main pop girl things that the other girls are doing. And you said, sure, she has her pop hits. She hasn't made anything to make her a main pop girl. I would say she has. Low key, and I'm not like the biggest Chappell Roan fan. Like, I know this is looking like I'm just like kissing up to Chappell Roan, but I genuinely am not the biggest Chappell Roan person. I don't stream her a lot, but I'd say like Good Luck Babe, Hot to Go, Pink Pony Club, even The Subway, like those are pretty big songs that she's made to cement herself as a main pop girl. Yeah, so I disagree. New music is definitely good. People are blinded by nostalgia and don't give new artists a chance. They only go off of TikTok clips. I agree. This is something that I said kind of in the middle of this video. But yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. I think that people are blinded by nostalgia. They want what they used to have. And so they're not giving the new girls a chance because of that. And they're not letting them live in their truth and live in their artistry because they want the old girls back. But it's like the old girls are not, they're doing their own thing. Some of the old girls are not even relevant right now. And I feel like we need to focus on the girls that are doing their big one and are doing the things that they need to do, because we're in a new era. Either get with it or go stream somebody else. Okay, go stream your fave. Last opinion. People saying Tyler can't sing are wrong. She has the same vocal. Oh, child. Oh, this one gagged me. She has the same vocal capabilities as Ariana Grande, but Ariana is more hyped because she's white. Ariana sounds like the average black woman singing R&B But again, she's praised and called a vocalist because she's white. I almost want to blur your name. I might blur everybody's name out. Because girl, what? Let's reel it in. Let's reel it in. Let's start from what she first said. Okay? People saying Tyler can't sing are wrong. She has the same vocal capabilities. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all. She has the same vocal capabilities as Ariana Grande. I'ma hold your hand when I say this. Tyler does not have the same capabilities vocally as Ariana Grande. I'ma hold your hand, baby. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. I almost want to put a clip up of Ariana Grande singing and then Tyler singing. And that's no tea or shade to Miss Tyler, because Tyler has some good vocals. She has vocals for a pop record, a good pop record. Ariana Grande can do any genre vocally. Do you understand? Do you understand? There's a difference. There's a difference, honey. Tyler can sing pop and probably R&B, but Ariana Grande can sing pop, R&B, Broadway, all of it. So to say they have the same vocal capabilities is just wrong. It's just not even. It's just wrong, honey. It's just wrong. They don't. Okay, and then we're gonna move on to the second part. You said, and I quote, but Ariana is more hyped because she's white. Listen. I'm the first person to admit when I feel like people are using their white privilege. I'm the first person to clock it when I feel like people are using their white privilege. Ariana Grande isn't one of them. Ariana Grande isn't somebody that's using her white privilege. She's just talented. I'm sorry. She's just talented. And in fact, if we want to really take it there, for half of her career, the beginning of her career, I didn't even know the girl was white. And I'm pretty sure she fooled the whole world where her race was. Nobody knew what her race was. We were all fooled. So to say she has hype because she's white is just completely false, because a lot of people didn't even know she was white. So that's already debunked. Yeah. Ariana sounds like the average black woman singing. I almost feel like that's racist. I almost feel like that's a little... I see what you're trying to say, but I don't. Ariana Grande sounds like Ariana Grande. She doesn't sound like the average black woman. She has influences of probably black artists and black women. She doesn't sound like the average black woman. Ariana Grande sounds like Ariana Grande. She sounds like a powerhouse vocally. And I'm probably going to give you some examples so you don't think I'm like being a fan. No. Like if I wasn't a fan of Ariana Grande, I would still think she's an amazing vocalist. Yeah. I do think there are situations where there are white artists who get hyped because they are white and not because they can actually talk the talk and walk the walk. Ariana isn't one of them. Singing R&B, but again, gets praised and called a vocalist because she's white. We're gonna have to go ahead and just call it a day on that one. Completely wrong. Completely wrong, but I still love you, babes. Completely wrong in that aspect. Ariana Grande will and forever be a powerhouse regardless of what race she is. I don't feel like that really matters or really holds any weight when it comes to her. And yeah. So that has been my reacting to your unpopular opinions. This was a treat. It was a treat to really analyze y'all's opinions and really get into what y'all had to say. I think it was very interesting. Some of y'all were just dead wrong. Some of y'all were just dead wrong and need to go ahead and brush up on your music history and your music opinions and what you deem good and what you don't. I would love to hear what y'all think about these people's opinions in the comments below. Did you agree? Did you disagree? How did you feel? If you guys want me to do anything like this again, just comment down below. Again, I will have my social medias, and I will probably put out another post or poll asking all about y'all unpopular opinions. Maybe I'll do TV show opinions next, or any opinions next. But I wanted to start with music because I just love music. This is a music channel. But yeah, y'all, that has been my video reaction. Like always, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.